Hello! Today we are going to weave a Kupala garland consisting of flowers and mostly grass. The topic of flowers has been appealing to me for quite a while already. I'm very fond of flowers, especially natural ones. However, as for paper craft, flowers are not always appropriate. One has to be very careful while trying to decorate woven articles with flowers and to have a subtle artistic taste. So far my attempts used to fail. However, on the eve of Ivan Kupala Day, St. John's Baptist Day, I decided to try and weave a garland that can be used as an amulet. Having watched straw laces by Larissa Gurji, as well as many woven items made of palm tree leaves, I want a combination of all these ideas based on our Slavic topic, Kupala garland. The idea of Kupala fest is protection from the evil. Our forefathers used to guard themselves against evil spirits. They were as well calling for fertility, health, kindness, well-being, all the good things. On this day they were both purifying themselves from evil sins and calling for the good ones. So I believe this kind of an amulet will be appropriate for any home. First of all, you have to weave a flower. At first I tried weaving with our regular newspaper tubes, but the flowers turned out too large. I can hardly imagine what size of a garland should be to fit those flowers. Well, maybe it would be okay for some ceremony in some community palace or something, but my plan was to decorate my own home, so I realized that I need smaller flowers. So, correspondingly, after a while I found the thinnest paper I had and the thinnest knitting needle. It is about as thin as a canvas needle is. The stripes are about 3–3.5 centimeters wide, which is about 1.5 inches. So I've got such thin tubes I'm quite satisfied with. If you press a tube like this, it looks like a straw. So you weave as if with straw and get the flowers as small and elegant looking as though they were woven with straw. So we've measured the diameter of a knitting needle. It is about 1.3–1.5 millimeters thick, which is about 5–6 points. For weaving a flower I take 5 thin tubes. I use construction tape for convenience. I fix them like this, turn the tubes into stripes or ribbons, soften them, and start interweaving. Lead the extreme right stripe under one, onto the second, under the third, onto the fourth one, in the technique of regular printed cotton weave, so-called canvas. Again, take the extreme right stripe, under one, onto the second, under the third one, leave it. Again, take the extreme tube, under one, onto one. Make sure that the bands are neat. It is an edge of our flower, so it is important for the bands to be neat. Under one tube, and the first coil is finished. Now there are 4 tubes directed to the left and 1 tube directed upwards. Turn the work to make these 4 tubes look upwards. As for this third tube, we lead it under one tube, onto the second one, under the third, onto the fourth one, all the same actions. This way we've performed the turn. Again, all the same actions. Under the first tube, onto the second, under the third one. Continue. Under the first tube, onto the second, under the first tube. That's all. The second step is finished. Turn. All the same actions. With a sew tube, perform a turn again. Under one, onto the second, under the third, onto the fourth one. Pull, smooth the tubes. Under the first tube, onto the second, under the third one. Smooth. The beginning of the plait stays downwards. We continue. We have to make several turns. A little flower looks nice if it is rich, if you make several circles. Under the first one, onto the second, under the third one, onto the fourth. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Look, we've reached the beginning. Finish the first circle. Don't stop, continue weaving. Turn. The tubes are long so far. They catch each other, but it's no big problem. And this way continue until your tubes are over. Or if they are too long, make at least 2–2.5 full circles. I've started the second circle already. Two and a half coils have been made. I've got a kind of a spiral. It is quite enough for such a flower. Now let's watch how to finish. I tie up with a ribbon. It is going to be the center of the flower. It's time to cut the tail and glue it. So, I've cut and glued the tail. Now I have to shape a spiral into a flower. Start twisting the center of a flower. As for the spiral, I wrap it around like this. I unroll a spiral and shape it into a flower. Put the center into the middle of a flower and shape the petals around it. Now you have to fix this tail. You can take a tape off or leave it and tie it up. It's better to tie it up with a thread. I did try using a thread at first, then I disliked the sticking tips I couldn't get rid of. So I've started fixing it with the help of a construction tape. However, while covered with glue and paint, a tape comes off. That's why thread is more reliable, though it takes a little more time. Knot it. Well, maybe you will find a better solution. So far, a thread is the best means I've got at hand. I'll cut a tail afterwards. It is a kind of a flower I got. The next thing we weave for a Kupala garland is blades of grass. Kupala garlands are mostly made of grass. There are some wild flowers in them, but mostly they consist of grass and spikelets. In search of spikelets, I found Larissa Gurji's website on straw weaving and got obsessed with her website. It is her site that inspired me to bear my idea to try and weave a Kupala garland. So let's weave a thick blade of grass at first. We take 5 tubes as well. Please pay attention. I've softened 2 tubes from the right and 2 tubes from the left. The central one remains intact. It is going to remain central up to the end. It would be nice to mark it with some color, but I believe we will remember it anyway. So, there are 2 left tubes and 2 right ones and a central one. We take the extreme right stripe and lead it under the first one, onto the next one, under the third one, onto the fourth, the same canvas again. Then take the second stripe. Let's call these flat ones stripes or ribbons and the central one a tube. So lead it under the tube, onto the next ribbon and onto the following one, just regular interweaving, and leave it. This central tube takes no part in interweaving, it is only used as a base. What do we do next? We lead the extreme left stripe under the second, now we have to turn with the remaining extreme left to the right. Interweaving in the technique of canvas, under one, onto one, under one, onto one. Got it. Interweave in the technique of canvas all the 3 stripes. The tube remains unengaged. Under one, onto the next one, under the tube. Place them over each other. Under one, onto the second. Under one. The technique is a bit similar to weaving a flower. The tube is directed upwards, all the stripes are directed to the right. Take the lowest stripe, lead it under one, onto the second, under the third one. This way. Got it. The tube looks up, the extreme stripe is to the right. Perform a turn with it. Under one, onto the second, under the third stripe, onto the tube. Straighten and continue in the same way. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. We've directed all the stripes. Here we've got a kind of a corner. Now take the extreme left tube and lead it under one, onto the second, under the third one. The next one. Leave them all. When there is only one left tube remaining to the left, we have to turn it to the right. Turn in the same way interweaving. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Got it. Take the extreme one. Lift all the tubes up, starting from the extreme one, from the lowest one. Interweaving in the same way, under one, onto the second. Turn the right stripe to the left, interweaving again. As you see, the central tube always remains in the middle. It does take part in interweaving, but not in turning. We just untwist it as a base of our spikelet. And this way we weave as much as required until the tubes are over, in order to avoid lengthening. So it is a kind of a fanciful spikelet we are getting.